Welcome back to the Savage Nation. I apologize for something beyond my control. There are rogue elements being put into the electronic log of my program that I have no control over, and I feel obligated to tell you this because it happened yesterday and now it's happening again today. Right now, we are talking about freedom of speech. Right now, we're talking about the lights going out in America. Right now, we're talking about broadcasters being subjected to censorship. And right now, we have the man who is in the news, who I'm very, very happy to have on the program, Alex Jones. Alex, welcome to the Savage Nation.
Dr. Savage, really thank you for being one of the few in America that understands what's happening and defending free speech. It's great to be here during this very, very serious time.
Well, let's start with the people out there who do not know what's going on. Tell the audience at large what happened to you, where your program is broadcast and what happened.
Okay. Well, I mean, here's what's going on, bottom line. Hillary ran $18 million worth of ads against Trump, editing tapes of me to misrepresent what I've said about a bunch of different issues, sometimes on totally different issues, totally deceptive. And then they built that up after Trump won, and then have just been hyping it in the media for the last year and a half what a horrible person I am. Now, I'm not that big and important. I mean, your show's bigger than mine. But I figured it out. They said I'm an easy target because they can edit stuff I've said out of context. You're a little bit more careful than me, I'll be honest. They edit out of context. Then they say, okay, we want to ban Alex Jones off the web. And they start having the New York Times, the Washington Post. I mean, thousands of articles a week the last few months. And I said, listen, I'm no rocket scientist, but the only person more demonized than me is Trump. They're just using me as a test case. And then, boom, they start saying 3 weeks ago, oh, I was mean to transgenders, I was mean to Muslims, and I beat up a kid. Forbes said that I beat up a kid. We look at the videos they took down off YouTube. It's me covering Islamic invasion of Europe. It's that ABC News clip of the kid punching the adult in the face, and the guy pushes it down. And it's transgenders in schools, pole dancing for kids. So that's all I covered. So, A, they never show what I supposedly said. When they then defame me and say I'm involved in all this liberal hate speech, when they take me down. So they're using me as the example for deplatforming. Then, Sunday night, Monday morning, it hits.
When you say it hits, what does that mean? What happened to your program?
Total deplatforming on hundreds of podcast platforms, YouTube, Facebook, so many other platforms, Apple, iTunes, where we had tens of millions of subscribers just on iTunes, 2.5 million subscribers on YouTube. All of it is completely deleted. They don't even put strikes against the account. They don't claim we violated the rules. There is a Night of Long Knives or Crystal Knot, a total purge of me. And then we learn a Democrat memo came out saying, this is on top of Drudge right now, that they're going to first purge me and then purge everybody else. Here's the headline out of Reason. Senate Democrats are circulating plans for government takeover of the Internet. Once that came out, okay, Senator Chris Murphy comes out and says, InfoWars is the tip of a giant iceberg of hate and lies that uses sites like Facebook and YouTube to tear our nation apart. That's the left. These companies must do more than take down one website. The survival of our democracy depends on it. They then called for talk radio to be restricted. That means you. They then called in the actual memo and his own statements for Fox News to be deplatformed. So they're so desperate ahead of these midterms where it looks like Trump's going to win, where it looks like these candidates, Republicans are going to win, that they are actually deplatforming me off our email server, off of LinkedIn that I wasn't even using. Credit card companies are calling. They are hitting us. And everybody overuses the Hitler analogy, but D'Souza's film, I don't know if you've seen it, totally proves it's true. The last time America faced something like this, we were fighting somebody doing it in Europe. Hitler literally deplatformed and put people in physical ghettos first, wouldn't let them have business, wouldn't let them have banks, wouldn't let them have shops, made them weak first, starved them, made them be forgotten before he shipped them off to death camps. And then, on the heels of that, Morning Joe calls for me to be arrested lying, saying I threatened Robert Mueller. So now MSNBC, CNBC, and CNN are all calling for my arrest. So these crazy Trump derangement syndrome...
Wait. Arrest for what?
They claim I threatened Mueller when all I did was a spaghetti western saying it's high noon, politically we're going to take you out. It was very clear I'm nonviolent. So all I'm saying is...
All right, so it was a satire or a parody. Alex, I understand your entire life is now being threatened. Is everything they're saying against you made up?
All of it is either made up or completely twisted. Just like Trump says, hey, Mexicans are great people, but a lot of them coming across the border unvetted are rapists and murderers. Then they say Trump says all Mexicans are rapists and murderers. It's the exact same game. Just like the little girl, they said they separated her from her mother. It wasn't even true. It's all a giant hoax, but that isn't what matters. I knew that I wasn't this important 6 months ago when they intensified their lies about me. They were just building me into the straw man that they would destroy first. You know how authoritarians work. First,
No, I understand. They're taking you down first because you're the most vocal, you're the most out there guy on the conservative side. Everybody knows that. God bless you. But have you said anything along the way that you would wish you hadn't said?
I mean, my God, I've said 100 things that in hindsight, how they twisted it, I wish I wouldn't have said. But
right, I understand that. I'm in the same boat. When you're talking all day long, you don't think like a politician does about how your words can be reorganized to make it sound like something entirely different.
20 people.
But look, Alex, I'm on your side, or I wouldn't have had you here because I believe in freedom of speech. And when they came for Alex Jones, if I didn't stand up for you, right, it's the old story. We are at the beginning of a guy like Mark Zuckerberg, who knows no bounds to his egomania and his greed, in my opinion, becoming a new czar of information for the left-wing governments around the world. But did you actually say that nobody died at the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting?
No, what I did is that I never created the original thing about that, and this was 5.5 years ago. What happened was people were saying it, they were showing anomalies, and I said, no, I believe it happened, but I could see how people, if we lied about babies in incubators in 1990, could believe that, and then I would play devil's advocate just like, I mean, everybody does in free form. I'm not like a politician spending days figuring out each line I say. And so they took it out of context, and about 3 years ago, they started saying, well, you're causing threats and problems. And I said, well, let me be clear. I think people died, and so I'm sorry if that was taken out of context. They never let me clarify. They just keep...
I understand what you're saying. I get it. I accept it. I'm not here to put you on trial. But, that's a big one.
Clarify it.
Now, do you think these companies like Facebook have a right to ban anyone they want? They are private companies, after all.
Here's the problem. They advertise as public utility, especially Google. They have created a monopoly all working together now. And then they have terms of service where they let Keith Olbermann call for Trump's murder and death, and then I never call for any such thing, and then I start getting restricted. And so they have terms of service where they are now trying to basically deny me to buy a plane ticket or get on a bus in the whole information superhighway. They are trying to bar me off the Internet, and they're trying to use me and the straw man they've created as the case point, Dr. Savage, to then ban everyone else. And I'm going to tell you again, that's the key to all this. The New York...
No, I know. You're the first one. However, in 2008, I was banned in Britain. I'm not going to bring it up again, but it was the original fight for free speech in the media. I'm the only member of the American media who stood firm against an entire government to try to free my name from a list of murderers and terrorists. And I will tell you, Alex, it didn't work. I spent a fortune, and England has not taken my name off that list. Once Big Sis goes amiss, there's almost no fighting them.
Well, you're totally correct. That's what I'm saying, is that I've said the EU model of censorship and so-called hate speech, a leftist term, that they use where they misrepresent what you've said. They then say you're a banned person. You were patient zero. You were the canary in the coal mine. In fact, on my own show, I break that down. So that's what I'm trying to say. Forget me. Okay, folks, this isn't about Alex Jones. Democrat senators are publicly on CNN saying Alex Jones is the tip of a rotten iceberg. Ban them all. And you know, Dr. Savage, you are right on that list, and you're right.
I've been on the list a long time. I wear it as a red badge of courage. But it's no joking matter. I quoted Churchill at the beginning of the show in his great The Lights Are Going Out speech in 1939 when he saw what Hitler was trying to do to the rest of Europe. And he talked about the centuries that it took to develop the wonderful civilization that Christianity brought in Western Europe. And he said, we're slowly going to lose it. What took such a slow evolution to create will be lost in the blink of an eye, in essence, unless we fight it. And so, Alex, how are you going to fight this?
Well, that's it. I mean, I'm going to go on shows like yours and others, and I'm going to warn people.
Oh, wait, who else will have you on?
Pardon me?
Who else is going to have you on?
You know, Tucker Carlson's on vacation, but he's been defending us. I know some other
Good.
people have.
Good for him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you actually think that they're going to let you go on Fox News to present your case?
You know, probably not, but regardless, here's all I'm saying. I'm not worried about me at the end of the day. You've been doing this a little bit longer than I have. You know, we're just committed to the truth. We're going to let the chips fall where they may. I'm just raising the alarm. The Democrats admit I am the test case. As you just said, let's be honest. I say stuff out of context. I play devil's advocate. I do satire. They take it out of context. That's their fault. I hardly even do it anymore because they do it.
Yep.
So deceptive, and so.
Well, Alex, here's what they did to me, and it's a very important lesson. I went on the air in 2007 or 8, and I said, what would happen if a rogue Muslim government got control of a nuclear weapon? And we knew who had that weapon, and which country had that weapon. And it was a Hobson's choice. I said, would you rather see 100 million of them killed or 100 million of us killed? What did the media do? They said, Michael Savage said kill 100 million Muslims. I never said that. This is how they work.
Exactly. You were doing a professor thought process to get people thinking about choices and how serious the issues are, which any intellectual would understand, and they took that like you were being literal. That's exactly what they do to me. But listen, here's the bottom line. They are using me for whatever reason, because I've done so much of that, and maybe part of it's my fault. I'll admit it. I'm not perfect. To go after everybody. I mean, I would bet I'm 45. Look like I'm 60. I would bet when you were 45, you're not as smart as you are now. I've learned a lot of damn lessons.
I don't know. They have been smarter. I wasn't in talk radio.
Well, all I know is the globalists are making their move on America. They brought 10 million military-age men, Muslim, into Europe. I know that I went to the mall to take my daughter to dinner last night and saw women in full burqas. This is not America. This is authoritarianism. And the global.
Oh, wait, speaking of burqas, even liberal Denmark has banned the burqa, knowing that it will destroy their civilization. So why do you have to defend a thing like that?
Well, exactly. And I'm just sitting there like I'm in the Star Wars space bar, and these women are totally enslaved wearing, these Halloween costumes, and I feel totally bad when they sit down next to us and the husbands are telling them when they can eat, what they can order like they're 3-year-olds, and I'm sitting there with 3 of my daughters with me, and I felt sick.
Right. It's the opposition to liberal democracy. The feminists should be on the front lines of that particular issue. Alex, we're going to do something now that's a little risky for both of us. We're going to open up the lines on the Savage Nation to the man of the hour, and that man is Alex Jones. If you have a question or a comment, you've got to keep it to 15 to 30 seconds or less. And the phone number here is 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282 to the Savage Nation. Once again, simplysafesavage.com. We go back to Alex Jones in the few minutes that remain in this hour. Perhaps he can stay over for your questions. Alex, here's the main question. Facebook and the others, are you going to sue them for conspiracy to damage you?
Well, when I say this, I've had a lot of top lawyers offer to sue them for free if I can give the time to it. I think it's a good idea, except this. You know about lawsuits. Once you get into them, it takes years sometimes, and by then the whole landscape's changed. I think the key here is, again, the Democrats have announced officially, this is in mainstream news, they're going after all conservatives, all Republicans. There's articles every hour about Republican congressmen and women who are trying to communicate on Twitter and Facebook and post their own ads. Democrats can post theirs, but they can't. This is incredible election meddling by the Democrats, not by this made-up red herring of the Russians.
Well, but you have no platform all of a sudden. Now, you know and I both know what they do in lawsuits if they have unlimited money. They could depose you for 70,000 hours and destroy your life. In other words, there was a law that limits depositions to 7 hours, no matter how many attorneys there may be. However, there are extenuating circumstances, Alex, I warn you in advance, where they could depose you for the rest of your life and grill you day after day after day until they make you want to go away. You know that.
I believe you have your speeches. Soros-funded groups, Hillary's 3 of her own admitted law firms, they brag about it in the news. They filed 21 lawsuits on me. in the last year and a half since Trump.
Well, what they file lawsuits on you for?
Everything under the sun. But the point is that 11 have been thrown out. It still costs me money and time. You're absolutely right. I was in the courthouse in Travis County off and on 4 days last week and couldn't even do my own broadcast most of the time because they...
Wait, Alex, we're running out of time. I hope you can stay with us in the next hour and take calls from around America and around the world. This is the biggest topic of our time. Yes, it's about Alex Jones today, but who is it about tomorrow? Even the ACLU is saying this is going to be the biggest mistake these companies ever made because they know that they're next. They know that they are next. Today, we wake up and we find out that Alex Jones, who has a huge and loyal following, which with much crossover into regular conservative talk radio, my show and others included. Make no mistake about it. Those who listen to Alex Jones also listen to people in talk radio. There's a huge crossover audience. He's not alone. He's not simply talking to himself. Alex, are you with us on the Savage Nation?
I am. Listen to the great points you're making. I just want to...
Alex, how many people do you have listening to you on a daily basis?
Well, I mean, they just banned us on like our top 10 podcasts, but we had over 10 million subscribers just on iTunes alone. That gives you an idea. 2.5 million subscribers on YouTube, about 20 million viewers, or 20 million.
Now, when you say subscribers, do people pay for that?
No, they click on it to have it sent to their inbox, and then there's also numbers for what they watch and what they do. The point is that
Wait, so you have one of the most listened to podcasts in America, right?
Yes, and the Democrats' answer was to ban it as the beta test, to ban everybody else. So I'm just here because the president listens to you, to raise the alarm that just like Congressman Matt Gaetz said when they shadow banned him and a bunch of other members of Congress 2 weeks ago, this is donations in kind, violating federal election commission laws, to the Democrats to let them talk to their people, let them be on Facebook and Twitter, let them be on Google. But conservatives are all shadow banned, meaning they dial you back to almost nothing, and you think you're talking to people and you're reaching 1% of who's there. That is election meddling at a galactic level. They're just using me with this ban to...
Well, look, Alex, I've been shadow banned by third world lowlifes on Facebook for about 6 to 9 months right now. Do you know why Mark Zuckerberg hires people from countries where there is no freedom of speech? People who hardly speak English? Because they come from nations where there is no free speech. So he uses these useful idiots to ban people like me, to shadow block me. Some uneducated dolt from some third world hellhole sits there in a dark little room in Silicon Valley, if not in the country of origin itself, and says, I don't like what Savage just said. I'll shadow ban him. He sits and listens and literally can block what I put up on that site. Can you believe this? This is what goes on in the nation of the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Yes, and they've been doing it in secret, and now we're drawing it out. So that's why here on your own huge broadcast, it's not about Alex Jones. It's not about Infowars.com. It's about... They are moving against everyone. The shadow ban has gone from, on average, 80% of us being dialed back. That is 80% of what we do being dialed back. That was the average, to 93%. There are big sites that track it. Now, 93% of conservative or pro-Trump, pro-America, or pro-gun, or pro-God, or pro-Israel particularly, anything that is pro-West is being dialed back 93% as of yesterday.
But why would these white people who are in the nation called America be kowtowing to these third world despots?
It's because the big multinational corporations have already been exploiting the third world. Now they're playing a demographics game. They don't like Lincoln and the Republicans and anti-racism. They don't want to really have the Christian or political system of the ethic of Judeo-Christian ideas about what you stand for, unifying people. They want divide and conquer. They want balkanization. They want to go back to things being nothing but racial and religious so they can program us according to that and not have us demand rights and liberties and free market. So the cold-blooded big corporations act like they're pushing liberalism, but really they're pushing something more akin to Nazism, like Dinesh D'Souza in his new film exposes, and that's where we are right now, is the death of the nation. They're killing nation states. These people are anti-American. They have created these armies to do it, and they're using me as the beta test to hope conservatives, after I've been demonized falsely for years, out of context, go, yeah, I'm for free speech, but Alex Jones is out there.
I see. So, no, I understand. They're going to take you first It's the old story of the old cardinal in Germany who said when they came for the Jews, I did not raise my voice because I was not a Jew. When they came for the gypsies, I did not raise my voice because I was not a gypsy. When they came for the trade unionists, I did not raise my voice because I was not a trade unionist. And when they came for me, there was no one left to speak up for me. That was Cardinal Niemöller, a Christian, by the way, who wound up in a concentration camp and learned a great lesson from being a coward who sits in silence as these power-hungry trillionaires try to crush all freedom of thought in this country and in the world.
What I'm saying is, I have a little guilt. Nobody's perfect, and some of it I should have done better. But they've misrepresented, and now I have this sick feeling because I'm getting more publicity and more traffic than ever while they burn down the First Amendment. Later, it's going to be freezing cold. But
Alex, let's be clear. You have said things that have offended people, like the things with the killing of the children. I mean, that was the big one, wasn't it?
Yeah, and they took it out of context. I was covering other people, and they covered. But the point is that when I realize, and they admit, once we get Jones, we're going to get everybody. I'm just ringing the alarm. They're coming for the First Amendment. They plan to steal the midterms. Trump and Congress need to move on antitrust. They need to move on racketeering. These companies have been bragging how they're censoring us. We have them.
Well, why doesn't Trump do that? Well, I'll give you the answer, because I know the answer. I can pretty much tell you what happened. When Trump just started, he was talking anti-monopoly in the beginning against companies like Amazon and Google. I remember it distinctly. And then a funny thing happened on the way to the theater. They came to the White House and had a meeting with him and his inner staff. I think that they must have worked out a deal that they would go soft on him if they let them reign without any interference whatsoever. I think a deal had been struck, and I don't think that anyone in this administration is going to lift a finger to help you. Am I wrong?
That's inside baseball. I don't know if you were actually people that Trump didn't sell us out. He just has this free market thing where do what you want as a company. He doesn't get the utility. And they said, we will leave you alone, but let us do what we want. And he said, yeah, it's his own fault because he is strong. He is a bull. I love him. But it's a little bit of arrogance. He said, they're not going to be able to block me. Well, you know what? They broke that deal. They've been dialing him back 90%. They've been turning his volume down. And that's why I'm saying I love Trump. He loves America. He's a good guy. But he doesn't understand how this works. They are killing us. They are dialing everything back. And the emergency bat signal here on your program, because I know he listens, is do something. They are going to steal the election. They are going to indict you. They are going to overthrow the country. They are going to merge with the radical jihadis. It is their plan. They believe they're going to do it, and I cannot believe that we've gone this far. So it's the biggest.
But, Alex, what could the president do today if he wanted to stop the power madness and the censorship that is going on by the social giants? What could he actually do?
He could say, we're going to push for hearings in Congress next week for the election meddling, a big tech that's pledged itself, like
wow.
Jack Dorsey said.
Oh, now hold it. Now that's a great thought. Election meddling that is not imaginary like the Russian collusion is imaginary thus far, but that we all know is true. The election meddling that is being done by the tech giants in order to make certain that illegitimate left-wing fanatics gain all the power in Congress. This is the Savage Nation. If you can't join the conversation, you can't, because, of course, the people are very excited by this meeting of the minds of Michael Savage and his guest, Alex Jones. And I would be remiss to tell you that I didn't think twice about having Alex on. I'll be very honest with you, Alex. I had to think about it. No man is an island unto himself. But you're the only one who was there when I needed you. The rest are fraudulent from the top to the bottom. They stand for nothing but the bottom line. I'll be right back. This is the Savage Nation. I recognize that many of you are fans of talk radio. You're not casual scanners of the radio band. You listen to this show religiously every day, as you do other shows from morning till night. Some of you cross over to the internet and listen to podcasts. We are speaking with I would say, the largest podcaster on the conservative side in the world, Alex Jones, who has basically been blocked and banned by the tech giants. And we're talking about the ramifications of this ban to all of us in America, no matter which side of the political spectrum we may be. Today you may be celebrating if you say, well, great, it's time for them to crack down on the people on the right. Well, if you let them do that today, who do you think is going to get it tomorrow when we're all gone? soon they will be going after you. And even the radical ACLU agrees with the position I have just stated. Again, let's go back to Alex Jones. Alex, line 10, welcome back to the program. Are you there?
I am. It's great to be here, Michael, and I'm glad that you're standing up for the First Amendment. And as you said, I've stood up for you because, and I love what you say and what you cover anyways. I've been a listener for 20 years, or close to it, but it's like hang together or hang separate. They misrepresent what you say. They misrepresent what I say. Usually it's something in between, but they're making their move ahead of these elections to fully deplatform people, to put people literally in these unpersoned, depersoned 1984 really electronic ghettos that Matt Drudge years ago warned about on my show and your show and other broadcasts. So we're here.
Well, Alex, what is to prevent them from closing down websites if they can close you down?
Again, the Democrats have put out a memo that Reason's reporting on. Senate Democrats are circulating plans for government takeover of the Internet. Dem Senator demands more censorship of conservative media. He says,
wait, how many Republicans have gone along with it? Because I do remember Trent Lott, amongst other Republicans, called for the banning of talk radio when they were in power. It was not just the Democrats. Savage Nation, we're talking with Alex Jones, who is all over the media today. I hope that the big media will have him on. I think some in the media would love to have him on. Alex, are you there?
I am. I want to say this right now, Michael. You are the big media with tens of millions of listeners. CNN has like 200,000 average viewers, but they've got a bunch of attack dogs and the establishment behind them. So I just want to say that I hope you'll come on my broadcast to lay out all your great breakdown of where we are, and I hope your listeners realize how serious this is. The good news is we launched a new app 3 weeks ago, InfoWars Official, on iTunes and Droid. It was like number 30 or something in